guys, welcome back to Debbie Diabetes Up channel. Hope you guys have been good. So recently I was having a discussion with our in-house researcher and content person about the new year goals and plan for our social media platform pages, and lo and behold, I discovered that there were a lot of things that I was talking about based on my experience for 21 years about things that just random things that makes management of day-to-day diabetes quite a challenge. And he was shocked, and it was right there that I discovered that a lot of stuff that I see as normal or how I live my life are things that a lot of other people do not even know that affect their blood sugar control negatively or makes it really hard. So I thought about it after the discussion, and I decided to make a video about it and share. Hi, my name is Oluwabumi Deborah, and I'm a Nigerian female living with diabetes for the past 21 years. I'm also the founder of Debbie Diabetes Up on Instagram, Debbie Diabetes on Twitter, and Debbie Diabetes Up on Facebook. You can check out our Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter page for relevant information on diabetes or anything, acts or tips that will make day-to-day management of diabetes easier and more doable. Thank you. Also guys, kindly click on the subscription and like button. It will mean a lot to me, and it will go a long way to encourage me to do more of those videos. Guys, today's topic, I'm really excited about it, which is 10 random things you are not aware of that might be making diabetes management hard. I'm really excited about it because I've come to learn in life that little inches swing huge doors. That means the things that makes the most impact or goes a long way in things like this are just little details or things that we are missing out. So today I want to really dive into it. I sat down and I thought about the last 21 years, and I brought out these 10 random things that a lot of people do not even pay attention to, and it's causing them a lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of money, and might even be a determinant between life and death. So today I really want to quickly dive into it so that we can get 1 or 2 or 3 lessons or tips or anything that will make tomorrow diabetes management plan easier. So let's go right into it. Number 1, binge eating. So for a very long time, I never knew that binge eating was a thing. In fact, I discovered a few years back in my research that it is even associated with people living with diabetes. Really, is a disorder. But in Africa, I realized that is what we do normally. Not that we plan to do it, it's just the way our culture, our environment, and our upbringing has made us to do. So what it literally is binge eating. Binge eating is literally eating large portion of meal in a very short time or at a sitting. In a layman's term, that means sitting down and eating in large quantity. According to the scientific and the health world, it has been said in researches that small portion of meals 5 times is what is termed as healthy living. But here in Africa, in most homes, we do either 2 meals or 3 meals. So that means that we have a long range or a long hours in between meals, which would naturally make us to eat more at every sitting and all that. So how does this affect or impact someone living with diabetes? Literally, it makes blood sugar management a struggle. Imagine if you're sitting down and you are eating normally until you are filled up. Then you have to take medication, either in insulin injection or in tabs, synonymous to the amount of meal that you are eating. That is one of the ways. Then 2, your body will have to take longer and more energy to break down these meals, and also this also makes you to have almost every time struggling to bring your blood sugar under control. So a lot of people do not even know. So for people living with diabetes, one of the best decisions that you can make is portion control. So portion control habit is like the opposite of binge eating. So portion control literally means that if you are going to eat any meal that is heavy, it's advisable that you break it into smaller portions and eat it over a period of time instead of eating binge eating. And this will give your body enough rest and also allow your medication to have breaks in between to be able to help keep your blood sugar under control. So guys, number 2 of 10 random things that you are doing that might be making diabetes management hard is length or acquired taste of meal or meal preparation. So one of the things that I've noticed is that we in Africa, we are not really used to vegetable and fruit, and we're not really used to raw meals, like having meals in the raw state. Like 90-95% are cooked meal. So most of the time with someone living with diabetes, having strictly cooked meal or cooked, especially cooked vegetables, can be a struggle in diabetes management really, because most of the nutrients that a diabetic person or someone living with diabetes lack can easily be found in raw vegetables and fruit. For example, the B vitamins, which are the vitamin B1, the B12, the B6, the B2, can readily be found in vegetables made into a salad or parboiled vegetable and spice and all that. And majority of these nutrients are lost when it is cooked the way we normally make our meals here. And also in my journey and in my experience, a lot of people struggle with uncooked vegetables, especially because it is not norm in this part of the world. It is not norm in Nigeria, it is not norm in Africa that we should eat uncooked vegetable, or we should eat more of uncooked or raw meals. This makes it hard, especially for the elders that are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, teaching them, telling them that they need to eat more of their cucumbers, more of their cabbage, more of vegetable juice like the bitter leaf, like juicing, some of these to help them. Most of the time, from my experience and from my interaction with them, I noticed that a lot of people struggle with it. And just tweaking 1 or 2 of our eating habits as Africans can really go a long way in helping us in a supportive way to manage the day-to-day diabetes meals and all that. And also our meal preparation, by changing 1 or 2 method of preparing our meals, can really go a long way in helping us ease the management of diabetes. For example, instead of cooking that ugu or that shoko or spinach, instead of cooking it in the normal African way, it is much more better and much more advantageous to someone living with diabetes just steaming it. Like for me, if I'm making my vegetables, one of the things that I do is to prepare all what I want to put in the vegetables. Like the pepper, the protein, the meat, the fish, the cow skin, and every other thing. Cooking them completely done, then washing my vegetables. That means either the ugu or the green that is called tete, or spinach or the shoko, and just slicing it and putting it into my already cooked meal that is already cooked and still very, very hot. Then switching off the gas or the burner and covering it to steam for a bit. Because by doing that, I retain most of the nutrients, which when I eat them, it becomes beneficial. And also another hack that I do is that anytime I make those meals, I don't rewarm them more than once. That means if I make the vegetable in a steamy way, I portion it out if I'm making in large quantities. So I put it in batches, put it in the freezer, and every time I'm bringing one out, I'm warming or microwaving and eating everything immediately. Another thing that I do again is that I eat this vegetable as a meal. Like, it is not just a supportive thing, it's a whole meal. This has gone a long way to help me to have all those nutrients, supports me in my journey of diabetes management, and it has made it a bit easier and all that. So the number 3 thing that is making diabetes management hard for a whole lot of people is overworking and stress. So I understand that a lot of us need to make a living, we need to earn, we need to take care of our family, our responsibility, we need to get our insulin and all that diabetes medication, the metformin and the glucophage and the dilanine and all that. But it will go a long way if we can form the habit or inculcating rest into our day-to-day diabetes management. It will go a long way. In fact, resting and removing stressful situation or things or people or circumstances around us will go a long way, even helping us to not have diabetes complication like hypertension or a whole lot of stuff. Not sleeping enough, not resting enough, not doing the stuff that reduces stress and all that will literally make management of diabetes hard, because one of the things that happen when the body is under stress is the body literally releases an hormone. The hormone is like an adrenaline, because the body is getting a signal that underperformance or it cannot perform optimally. So the brain signals to the body and releases the adrenaline hormone, which is also like glucose. And for someone living with diabetes, that is not a good thing. What that does is just that you have excess glucose flowing in your system and your body cannot work on it unless you take your medication and all that. So if you're someone that is living with diabetes, or you have a loved one or anyone living with diabetes, you want to ensure that you remind them to take rest. You remind them to take a break. You remind them to just rest their body. You remind them not to overstress. And stressing is not just physical. Sometimes, or most times, people living with diabetes are stressed mentally. They are stressed psychologically, checking the blood sugar, checking the meals, calculating, doing all those stuff can go a long way in putting someone living with diabetes under stress naturally or normally. So you want to ensure that have people around you, you build an environment, you diffuse situation, you do stuff that will help you counter those stress. Because at the end of the day, that stress can literally push one over the edge or make one to be more vulnerable to diabetes complication, and we want to avoid that and all that. So overworking and stress is a no-no. You know, one of my principles in life is that worrying cannot add an hour to my life. So one of the things I do is just that the moment I have things bothering me, I think about it, think of possible solution, and I pray about it, and I just put it aside. Instead of worrying, I take a step to change the situation. If it's beyond me, I do all that I can, and I just put it in the hands of God, and I just move on and all that. And it has always worked for me most of the time. And I think it's something that people living with diabetes should really look into and all that. So this is number 4. Number 4 of the 10 random things that can make blood sugar management hard is not doing leisure or not taking vacation or a break. You see this one, even me myself, I am very guilty of it. A lot of us we have this thing at the back of our mind that vacation or leisure is expensive. Actually, is not. So one of the things I discovered last year, you know, from the COVID thing from 2020 and last year, is that the isolation, because of diabetes, I am categorized under the autoimmune compromise. So I had to limit visiting, going out. I had to literally restructure the things that I do, business, church, and a lot of stuff. So it makes me to stay a whole lot indoor. Then every single time that you are out there, you are cautious, you are wearing your masks, you are keeping distance from people, and it started to take a toll on me. I used to be somebody that I can stay on my own for long, but that was before my freedom was taken away from me by COVID and the old stuff outside. So I discovered that by last year, which was 2021, I just started having depression symptoms, a very strong one. And that was when I started looking at it that, wow, I never thought that a day would come and I would be depressed literally. So I discovered that because of the COVID tension and a lot of story, you know, before we get to church, we get to meet people, talk to them, have fun, we get to business places, you hang out, there's no worry, there's nothing really on our mind, we are just free. But since COVID came, we are always on guard. I'm always on guard. I'm always checking and all that. And it took a toll on my mental health. I had to literally sat down and plan leisure, as if I'm planning my meals or I'm planning vacation or planning finances. I had to make it a serious addition into my life. So I discovered through when I was doing all the planning and researching that it wasn't really expensive. It just takes that we make it a priority for it to be done. So something as little as going to watch a movie, in a park or a swimming pool, or taking up swimming, or taking up tennis, or taking up knitting. In fact, there is somewhere in Lagos that they do painting and sipping. Like you go there, you can paint whatever it is that you want to paint, and you literally engage with people. You know that thing of we seeing people and engaging. God created it in a way that it refreshes us and keep us balanced, and that has been snatched away from every one of us because of COVID. Most of us, especially people living with diabetes, I discovered that it's because we don't just make leisure or vacation a priority. What we do mostly in this part of the country is to visit family and friends, or go to a bar. Any one of it that you are okay with, I will strongly suggest that, or ensuring that it becomes priority in day-to-day, can go a long way in easing the stress of diabetes management. If we're visiting loved ones, visiting our parents, visiting family, friends, and spending a couple of days or a couple of hours just going to a park or a zoo, a museum, under 5K, 10K, can go a long way in easing, removing tension, keeping our blood sugar and our blood pressure under control and all that, and just giving that balance, that mental balance that makes every other things to make sense. So I would strongly advise or suggest that we should look into this, so that after everything, we have somewhere that we go to and ease off and release all the stress and all that. So number 5 in the 10 random things that we do daily that makes diabetes management hard is praying only and not taking our medications. You know, I'm actually a very faith person, and at the initial stage of when I was diagnosed with diabetes over 20 years ago, I had a bit of a struggle balancing my faith and taking medication, because of course our family in faith will encourage us to pray about it, that we should rebook it, there is an attack. All of those stuff is valid. Also, the medication is valid. Now, one of the things that I discovered when I was doing my own personal research and asking questions about the why do I have the diabetes, one of the things I discovered in my journey of asking all these questions and talking to God and doing a lot of thinking and research about it is that there is nothing that happens that God is not aware of. God knows. Before we were born, He knew that we were going to get into it. He knows everything. Another thing that I now discover as I dig deeper is God is not blinded to what we are going through, number 1. 2, God is a big boy, because most of the time we make it look like God does not see or is not aware. There is nothing that happens that He is not aware of. And 2, God will not need us to stop our medication for Him to heal us. I've known a lot of people that have died in this process of, I'm stopping my medication because I'm believing God for healing. It's valid. I'm not saying it's not valid, but I'm also saying that it might not necessarily be a smart choice, because God do not need you, me, or anyone to stop their medication before He shows Himself as God. If we need to stop our medication for God to now heal us, I don't think it's smart, because God is a big boy. He wants to heal. He will heal either medication or not. You will know when He has done it. You will be aware. There will be nothing. It will not be about what you've done or what you've not done. It will just be because He just wants to do it, because He's God and He's sovereign. So many times I've seen a lot of people die. I've seen a lot of people almost dying because maybe they went for one deliverance program, or one pastor or one clergy person told them to stop their medication to prove that they have faith for healing. That is not, my friend, a smart move. If you have anyone, a friend, a sister, a loved one, a colleague, a child that is going through that path, I will so strongly suggest that you sit them down and let them know that you can keep on having faith for your healing and still keep on taking your medication. Because from the point that God will start to heal you till when you get healed totally is a process, and you will need to stay healthy and sane for that process to happen. God cannot heal a dead person. Don't give Satan room, or don't give error room to fester and turn into another thing. So that's one of the, I see people not taking their medication, struggling with sugar management. In the process, the high blood sugar level affects major organs in their body. Now it's not just diabetes, it's other things, and before you know what is happening, it becomes hard, it becomes struggle, it becomes really hard to be able to manage it. And like I said in one of my videos, that lack of acceptance will make it a struggle and all that. And I hope that as you wait on God, have faith, it will come true for you. Thank you. So guys, 6 points in 10 random things that we do that makes diabetes management hard is not sleeping enough. So we are in this part of the country or this part of the world where everybody has to be on top of their game. Like, we are in a world where it's fast paced. You have their deadlines, there are deliverables, there is KPI, there is bills to be sorted out, there is inflation. I do understand all that, and I'm also in the country too, and we are together in this. But not sleeping enough, not getting enough hours of sleep can literally mess up diabetes management and make it hard with no end in sight. I'm telling you this, guys. You know, before COVID, I used to sleep 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours. Sometimes I do 4 hours, but it's 6 to 8 hours, of which I ensure that if I do that twice in a week, one day in that week, before that week ends, I make sure that I sleep like in the afternoon to be able to make up for the loss of sleep. But one of the things that I discover now in the last 2 years, I don't know what really happened, is just that more sleep actually makes your blood sugar control easy and easily managed, really. So if you are someone living with diabetes, or you have someone that lives with diabetes, I will encourage that you encourage them to sleep minimum of 8 hours a day. Now, if there's someone that they cannot sleep more than maybe 4, 5, 6 hours because of the nature of their job, then you should encourage them that on weekends, one of the weekend days, that's Saturday or Sunday, they should ensure that they sleep in the afternoon to make up for those lost sleep. It will go a long way to refresh, to keep their immune system healthy, to keep their blood sugar control in check and their blood pressure in check, to keep the body rested. I see a lot of people managing diabetes and still going sleepless, doing midnight calls, watching movie unnecessarily, going for night party. Some even takes jobs that require night shifts. I would strongly say that for people living with diabetes, is a no-no. And even if you are going to do it, you should ensure that there is a system where you make up for that sleep during the day and all that, because lack of sleep will put your body under stress, and the body will be forced to release adrenaline hormone, which is also glucose in the body to support the body, and free glucose flowing all around your body, plus the one that you will get from eating your meals, can literally make getting the blood sugar control hard, and you want to stay off of that. So sleeping properly, well rested body keeps everything balanced and all that. So that is one of the things that a lot of us do, and we don't just know why. Some people even go to video. If you go to video, ensure that the next day you shut it down and you sleep, so that you can put your system back in check. A lot of other people might do it. Even the people that are not living with diabetes, it has been said through several research that it is not advisable that you keep sleeping or you don't sleep well. A lot of people do 4 hours, 6 hours. Come on, doing that in a long term causes or may cause serious health issues that even all the money that we now make from running after a lot of stuff will not be able to contain it and all that. So I would strongly suggest that 8 hours of sleep minimum is it. So the next point is number 7, lack of discipline in diets or in meals and in our medication. So I see a lot of people skipping their medication, a lot of people not taking it, especially people that are on type 2 diabetes. I see a lot of people go for months. I used to know someone that will go for weeks without getting her medication. I know people that because they cannot afford it, they don't take it for long. It might look like nothing is happening on the short term, but I'm telling you strongly that it is a bad idea on a long term that can cause serious health issue or even result in debt and all that. So lack of discipline, not taking the medication when you're supposed to take them, not eating meals, portion control size, eating enough vegetables and fruits, spice and herbs that act as supportive stuff in diabetes management can actually make diabetes management hard. How I handle the discipline part of my meals is that I ensure that I eat within a particular time range. Like any meals I'm eating is between 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. max 11 a.m. in the morning. So within that time range, whatever it is I want to eat for breakfast, I ensure that I take them. So I use two types of insulin. So I use the basal. The basal is a long-term insulin that covers 12 hours range. So I use in the morning and I use in the night to cover 12 hours, which is 24 hours. Then I use the bolus anytime that I'm having a meal. I use bolus to calculate the amount of carbohydrate or whatever in the meal, and I take them. So that is the type of insulins that I use. I use two types. So what I do is that I ensure that my basal, that means my long-term insulin, are taken at a particular time every day. I've been doing that for so many years, almost 20 years. I've been doing that consistently. So what happened is that after a while, my body get used to it. And the moment like I take my basal by 7 a.m. in the morning, I have an alarm for it. And I take the one for morning for 7 a.m. and the one for evening for 7 p.m. So the moment I get to, in the morning, most of the time I'm still sleeping. So I might not really be able to tell exactly how my body feels. But the evening, the moment I start getting to 6 o'clock past 6, I know from my body response that the insulin coverage has expired, because the body has been trained with that consistent timeline to know when to expect. So the moment I get to like 5:36, I already start feeling, I start getting some body reactions, some whatever in my body, and I know that. So it's like my body has its own alarm clock. Even if my blood sugar is within range, I still get that particular sensation or that feeling, and I know that I have to take the next 12 hours coverage, and it has been like that for a very long time and all that. So because I'm consistent with it and I put it on a system, the body has been trained, and it helps in covering well my blood sugar and keeping my blood sugar within range well and all that. And another thing that I do when it comes to my medication and my meals is that keeping them on that particular timeline makes my body to know what to expect and makes my body to cover well. I know a lot of people that just take their medication randomly. They do not have a particular time. They don't know when they check their blood sugar. I would strongly suggest that we put it on a particular time so that the body expects it, the body plans well for you, and the body be able to use it well and all that. So number 8 of 10 random things that makes diabetes management hard is fear and anxiety. So fear is literally anxious about what will most likely not happen. Now, I say this with a whole sense of responsibility, because last year was a very tough one for me. I used to be someone that I'm not afraid of anything when it comes to diabetes, because I've set the system working, I've set the framework, I have faith in God, I have all those stuff. And something just happened to me last year, and the whole plan and the whole setup just got scattered. And I started panicking and being afraid, and the whole other, coupled with the fact that the whole atmosphere is laced with negativity and COVID issue, and it becomes hard. And I know that most of us, most people living with diabetes, or most people that as people, loved ones, especially when we have children, child, or spouses, or people that we care about, being diagnosed with diabetes or living with this complex disease, makes us to be easily and vulnerable to fear and anxiety. Last year was a whole struggle for me. I would literally have panic attacks. I would literally not be able to sleep. My blood sugar was jumping all over the place. I was ill for a while, and it was really a struggle, and it made me to have a first-hand experience of how people literally live if they do not get the fear and the anxiety under control. So for me, I will encourage that we should not, how will I say it? We should try and keep fear under control. I know it's easier said than done, but one of the things that helped me that I would like to share with you guys is having affirmations. Like, diabetes will give you all the reasons why things will go wrong. But one of the things that I did last year that turned the table around was that I wrote things, my expectation, the good things I would like to see. I wrote them down on a sheet of paper. I have some in my phone, on my notebook in my phone. And I try as much as possible, anytime I'm feeling those fear and all that, get to that written confession and affirmation or positive notes and things, and I read it to myself. Then if you are like me, if you are a Christian, I took some positive scriptures and I wrote them down and I say it to myself over and over again. You know, there is nobody that is above fear. When some things happen to you or happen to us, it shakes the core of who we are, and most of the time it scatters our foundation. And one of the ways to get back on track and to heal and to get back on track is to say those positive things. You see, this world that we are in, there is both negative and positive stuff. So we should focus on the positive more, because I know that by experience, anything that we focus on gets magnified in our heart, becomes part of us, becomes our reality. So one of the things I did last year was to have all those things written down in different formats in every area of life, especially the area that I'm panicking about. And I started saying it to myself, and I start praying. Another thing that I did was I was praising God. Like, the things that I would like to see that I'm not seeing, I did that a lot. I cried, praised God, and just keep on standing, hoping and relying on what He has done or what He told me. So I will encourage that whatever it is that your faith or your belief system is, that you get close, you hold on to it, and you surround yourself with positive people that speak positivity, people that see good. You distance yourself away from people that are always talking about doom, and as much as possible, if you can help it, avoid social media, avoid the news, because it doesn't matter whatever it is that they are saying that is negative, because you are vulnerable at that particular point, or you are vulnerable because of what you are going through. It makes you to be vulnerable to easily soak up all those negativity. So I will encourage and advise that if it's possible, you can stay away from social media, stay away from people that stress you out, people that do not have anything positive that they are bringing to the table or bringing to your life. You are in control of your life. You have the right to reject friendship that does not elevate or add to you, reject relationship. If you need to take time off from church, take time off from business or work and rest, because rest will help with getting over fear and anxiety. And if you notice that it persists, so I will encourage that you speak to someone, not necessarily your pastor, someone that is a professional. And I think that organization at Mental Awareness NG, I'm not sure of the name, but I will put their link at the comment section down below. They are always available. They have free counseling, so you can approach them and talk to them. If you have a friend, if you have somebody that when you talk to, you feel better afterward, I will encourage that you do it. And I pray that God will comfort you, God will strengthen you. And I want to encourage you that you are a champion. Regardless of the days that you struggle or the days that you do not struggle, you are a champion. Nobody is aware or can even fathom the amount of stress or the amount of energy it requires to be alive each day as someone living with diabetes, or as someone that has a loved one that is living with diabetes. The amount of resources that goes into it, the amount of physical resources, mental resources, financial resources, spiritual resources, the stress, the psychological resources, mental stress and all that. And I really want to commend you, and I want to encourage you that you should hang in there. Things are going to get better and all that. So having said that, number 9 of the 10 random things that we do that makes diabetes management hard is over-advising or too many opinions. So I've seen people, so one of the things that I did, or one of the things that helped me, was that at the initial stage of the diabetes, a lot of people were giving opinions. So I was younger then. So today they will bring this concussion. Tomorrow they will say I should go to this church. Next tomorrow they will say one person can pray for me. I did that for the first 3 or 4 years of freshly being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and it was hard. It was hard because hope kept getting dashed. Lack of acceptance was there. So I was struggling with a whole lot of stuff, until I came to a point where I just decided that God is aware. He doesn't sleep nor slumber. He knows everything. I'm just going to accept this and just see how I can make the best of my life irregardless of it. And that was the game changer for me and all that. And one of the rules, or one of the principles that I am now instilling in myself, is that I don't discuss diabetes with anyone that is not in a position to help or to contribute positively. So a lot of people that I went to school with were not even aware that I was diabetic. I don't want anyone's pity. I don't want anyone's emotional contribution that does not add value. I don't want to, I didn't just want that will pull me down or will make me feel depressed. So I just decided to make it need to know information. A lot of people that will watch this video will actually be shocked, and the only people that I discuss with is either a very, very close family members, or my doctor, or anyone that want to contribute to the proper management of the diabetes. And it really helped a lot, because I've seen people that this person will come and tell them, eat this, they will eat it. Another person will come and say, take this, they will take it. By the time they take different concussion, different medication, different approach, different tips, hacks, everything will just scatter. Before you know what is happening, they are more confused than when they even begin. So it makes diabetes management hard. So I would advise, get a good doctor and a good support system. Between 1 and 5 people should be enough that you trust that they know what they are saying, and get what you need from them. One might be doctor, the other one might be a spiritual leader, the other one might be a close friend that you can lament to or talk about your feelings. The other one might be a dietitian, the other one might be a counselor. Just get people that contribute one specific important thing or the other into the proper diabetes management, and it makes the diabetes management easy. That is what I've done. A lot of people are not aware of my diabetes status, because at the end of the day, a lot of people do not have anything positive to contribute, and I don't want to be dragged into an emotional roller coaster or negativity on the whole diabetes issue. So guys, the 10th random things that makes diabetes management hard. We have come to the end of those random things, and this 10 random things is over management or under management of diabetes. So I've seen people overdo, like they are on medication at the same time, they are on one agbo or one concussion at the same time, they are having anointing, they are drinking anointing oil at the same time, somebody is doing incantation for them. So a lot of people treat or manage diabetes that it now becomes a problem. There's some other set of people undertreat diabetes management or diabetes on its own, and it becomes a problem. So the key here is balance. Practice, no right or wrong answer. Know what works for you. If they're talking about a particular thing, read about it, research about it, ask questions about it. Then just pick 1 or 2 or 3 things that works for you, and then use it. Your medication will always be the core and the most important aspect of your diabetes management, and the food that you eat. You see, the other things like herbs and spice and juice and vegetables and concussion are going to be supportive agents that makes the journey easier. They can never be the main thing. They will just help keep you balanced and keep you healthy to make the other things work. Like I always do this analogy. All these other herbs and whatever are going to be the things that will make you to be clean, healthy, and balanced, so that your medication can work properly and effectively. But on no account should any of them replace your medication. So under treating or over treating without creating healthy balance can actually make your diabetes management extremely hard. So guys, hope out of this 10 points, you've been able to pick 1 or 2 or 3 lesson or wisdom or things that you can use for yourself if you are living with diabetes, or for your loved ones or friends, to let them see that tweaking or changing some of this thing or most of this thing can actually ease the burden of diabetes management. Diabetes is complex, yeah, it's stressful, yes, but it is doable and it can be well managed, that it doesn't interfere so much with living a successful and a fruitful and a wonderful life. Really, I am a living example. So guys, we have come to the end of today's video on 10 random things that you are or you might be doing that is making diabetes management hard. I really appreciate if you can click on the subscription and like button down below. It will really mean a lot to me. It will encourage me to get more of those videos out there, so that me and you and all of us can actually learn from each other and be able to have a more stressless and good, balanced, healthy life, even though we are living with diabetes. So guys, until we see in the next video, I will like to say thank you for watching, and please feel free to share amongst your friends, amongst your groups, and anywhere that you think someone might benefit from the knowledge of it. Thank you so much. My name is Oluwabumi Deborah. Bye bye.